Welcome to another episode of Hack Naked TV, recorded February 4th, 2016. I'm your host, Aaron Lyons. I'm going to be talking about Norse Corp, the end of the Java web plugin, Cyberterrorism, and Safe Harbor. As always, this episode of Hack Naked TV is brought to you by Black Hills Information Security, the leaders in pen testing and active defense. Email consulting at blackhillsinfosec.com to request a quote today. So, Norse Corp. Last Saturday, the 30th of January, Brian Krebs reported that Norse Corp was imploding. That the CEO had been asked to step down. Employees were supposedly told that they could show up for work on Monday, but they might not get paid. Norse Corp, if you're not familiar with them, has been supplying threat intel feeds. Reports from Brian Krebs and Rob Graham make it sound like the whole company was a bunch of smoke and mirrors, and it all imploded in a couple of days. By Sunday, their site is down, and it's still down. There haven't been any more updates on what exactly is going on with the company, but all accounts right now is that it is gone, and the employees are looking for work. So if you're looking for some talent, there's a bunch of it out there right now. Oracle is killing the Java web plugin, not to be confused with JavaScript, but the Java web plugin that lets you run Java programs from your web browser. As of JDK 9, it will no longer be supported. This could really reduce the amount of drive-by download attacks that we're seeing out there on the web, though there's still a lot of old Java out there in the enterprises that just won't go away. But it's a step forward. Moving on to something a little bit more interesting. The first cyberterrorism case is starting up here in the U.S. Back in October, Kosovo citizen Adit Farizi, I'm sorry if I slaughtered his name there, a.k.a. the Director Y, was arrested in Malaysia. He was then extradited to the U.S., and he's facing charges of supplying information to a terrorist organization. So what he did, he compromised an unnamed organization, and he stole data of roughly about 100,000 of its users, individuals. This included names, addresses, email addresses, physical location, phone numbers, etc. The usual stuff you see in a data breach. Of this 100,000 individuals, it included just over 1,300 U.S. government and military personnel. He then, on two separate occasions, took the information for those government and U.S. military personnel and transferred it to two separate members of ISIS. So that's the charges that he's facing. If he is convicted, he faces he can face up to 35 years in prison. He was just appeared before a federal judge this past Wednesday. It'll be interesting to see where this first case of cyberterrorism goes, and we'll be updating you as it develops. On to another story that we've been covering now for several months. We reported just last week that the Safe Harbor Act the deadline was the end of January. Well, that's come and gone, and 2 days after the deadline, the European Union, the U.S., reached a new data transfer agreement, dubbed the EUUS Privacy Shield. So companies can breathe a sigh of relief. We have now a new agreement that allows companies that do business in the U.S. to store data on let me rewind there. Companies that do business in the EU to store data in the U.S. of EU citizens. Now, this new policy needs to survive the scrutiny of the European Court of Justice, so we'll see if it makes it through that. That's all for this episode of Hack Naked TV. We'll see you next time.